that he has, and the qualities of the devotees, which are reflections of those qualities of Krishna. So now we're going to continue to study this subject. Some things which give impetus or stimulation to ecstatic love of Krishna are his transcendental qualities, his uncommon activities, his smiling features, his apparel and garlands, his flute, his buffalo horn, his ankle bells, his conchshell, his footprints, his places of pastimes such as Vrindavan, his favorite plant, tulasī, his devotees, and the periodic occasions for remembering him. One such occasion for remembrance is Ekādaśī, which comes twice a month on the 11th day of the moon, both waxing and waning. On that day, all the devotees remain fasting throughout the night and continuously chant the glories of the Lord. So Ekādaśī. Eka means one, and Dashi means 10. So the 11th day. In the Vedic calendar, the days are counted from the new moon and from the full moon. And the interval, or the 2 weeks, from the new moon to the full moon is called the bright fortnight. And from the full moon to the new moon is known as the dark fortnight. So that's the Krishna Paksha. What's the other one? The dark fortnight? I'm sorry, yeah. Bright fortnight is Shukla Paksha, and the other one, the bright fortnight, dark fortnight is Krishna Paksha. For some reason I associate Krishna with brightness. But actually it's Krishna, in this case, means dark. So on the 11th day of each paksha, of each fortnight of the lunar month, then the Vaishnavas fast. At least they fast from grains and beans. But the more austere Vaishnavas will fast completely. And because it's very hard to sleep if you're fasting, they stay up all night and chant and dance and hear about Krishna. And in this way they celebrate the Lord's pastimes and activities, and this is a stimulation for ecstatic love. Now the rest of the chapter we're going to discuss the other qualities of Sri Krishna that also give rise to this ecstatic love. Krishna's transcendental qualities, his uncommon activities, and his smile. As far as Krishna's transcendental qualities are concerned, they can be divided into 3 groups: qualities pertaining to his transcendental body, qualities pertaining to his transcendental speech, and qualities pertaining to his transcendental mind. Krishna's age, his transcendental bodily features, his beauty, and his mildness are qualities pertaining to his body. There is no difference between Krishna and his body, and therefore the transcendental features pertaining to his body are the same as Krishna himself. Try to understand. In our case, there's a difference between the self and the body. The material body is different from the soul. The material body follows the laws of the material world, matter, beginning with time. It's temporary. It comes into being at a certain time, exists for a certain length of time, and then it disappears. But the soul is eternal, which means it's never created and never destroyed. The principal symptom of the soul is consciousness. And consciousness is probably the most misunderstood thing in our existence. But just consider that in the absence of consciousness, in other words, when one's unconscious, nothing else is important. Nothing else is valuable. So consciousness is what gives the valuable things in our life their value. Because without consciousness, they have no value. They have no interest. We have no connection with them. They're gone. We can't even be conscious of them. So consciousness is the precursor, it's the preliminary factor that makes everything else in life possible. Without consciousness, really, we don't have life. Consciousness and life are the same thing. So this consciousness in our existence is separated from the body. It's a separate phenomenon from the body. The consciousness or life comes into the body at the time of conception, and it leaves the body at the time of death. But the consciousness or the soul remains eternally while the bodies come and go. And the proof of this is that in the beginning we had a little tiny baby body, and then we grew up a little bit and we had a child body, and then we had a youngster body, and then we had a teenage body. Now I have an adult body, a middle-aged body. Soon I'll have an old man's body, and then the body will disappear. And I have to go off and get another body, or whatever I can do. Depending on my qualification, the type of body that we get is determined by the level of our spiritual advancement. And the more spiritually advanced we are, then the nicer quality of body that we can have. All the way up to restoring our original spiritual body. So just like Krishna, our original spiritual form is identical with the soul. But this material body being different from the soul is actually, a bad fit. It's uncomfortable. There's so many problems associated with the body, and they're all associated with the fact that the body changes. In the beginning, it changes, as I said, from boyhood to youth, babyhood to boyhood to youth, to adult to old age. And then finally the body dies, and we have to change it for another body. And all these are very troublesome. There are all kinds of problems associated with each of these stages. Because of having to change the body, there's so much suffering. So we should understand that this material body situation is not our natural form of existence. If it were our natural or original form of existence, then like Krishna, our self and our body would be identical. We wouldn't be able to separate them. But we can see that our body and our self have two completely different sets of symptoms. They follow different laws, different activities, and they're made of different substances. Whereas in the spiritual world, both Krishna and his devotees are all spiritual. Their bodies and their souls are one. So in the material world, we have this duality to deal with, and this is the cause of all our problems. So anyway, because these qualities of Krishna stimulate the devotee's ecstatic love, they have been analyzed as separate causes of that love. To be attracted by the qualities of Krishna means to be attracted by Krishna himself, because there is no real distinction between Krishna and his qualities. They're all transcendental. They're all on the absolute eternal platform of existence. Krishna's name is also Krishna. Krishna's fame is also Krishna. Krishna's entourage is also Krishna. Krishna and everything related with Krishna, which give stimulation to love of Krishna, are all Krishna. But for our understanding, these items may be considered separately. But this is a very important point in Vaishnava philosophy. Why do we chant Krishna's name? Because Krishna's name and Krishna are identical in quality. They're both transcendental. The name Krishna, when we use the name to refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it does not refer to anything in this material world. Of course, there are many people named Krishna, especially in India. But originally, the name Krishna refers only to the Supreme Person. So the name Krishna, when used with that intention, does not refer to any object in this material world. So when we speak the name Krishna, or Hare, or Rama, or any word like that, Rishikesh, Shama Sundar, any of the thousands and thousands of names of the Lord, then we are invoking spiritual sound vibration. And the impressions generated in our mind, the pictures, the recordings of this experience of hearing this transcendental sound vibration are also transcendental quality. So the whole point, therefore, of sadhana, the whole point of chanting, the whole point of hearing or looking at the deity form or reading the scriptures or any of the things that we do in devotional service is to generate many, many, many impressions in all the different senses. So that's why when we offer the arti ceremony, for example, we offer the objects of all the senses. Water, fire, earth, air, ether, sound vibration, ether. And then by looking at